Hey everyone, welcome to Mastering Maize and Blue. My name is Solomon Dudley, and we have Mr. Corey with us. Want to introduce?
So, my name's Corey Lewerenz. I am currently a senior. I'm majoring in journalism and screen studies with a focus on journalism. I'm involved in the French Club, as well as the editor-in-chief of the Michigan Journal. Before the whole pandemic started, I was actually looking at joining more organizations. It says my favorite movie on there. I actually cheated and I put a docu-series down because that's just how I roll. Yeah, that's me.
Well, I'm glad to be working with Mr. Corey. My name is Solomon. Welcome to our podcast. I am a health and human services major with a concentration in public health. As the slides say, I'm involved with men's ice hockey and lacrosse as a team manager, as well as a community assistant at the union. And my favorite superhero is Superman because I love Superman ice cream. But that's not what makes everything so special today. Corey and I have a very special connection, which is what we kind of just figured out not too long ago. We knew each other. We were both transfer students. Hence, this is Model T, which is a transfer program for students who are transferring. But we did not know that we had a lot of other things in common. Like we graduated high school at the exact same time, went to the same community college at the exact same time, and then came to University of Michigan-Dearborn at the exact same time. And then happened to be here talking with you all at the exact same time. So, Mr. Corey, this is a very special thing. How are you feeling about this? How are you feeling about our recent discovery, and anything you want to say on that?
I mean, when I think we talked about it yesterday. We were just kind of going over the odds and ends, and we just asked each other our stories. Where did you start? How did you get to UM-Dearborn? And it was honestly just a wow moment because honestly, we probably passed each other hundreds of times maybe in the library or just walking to class. We could have been in the same class together. So just seeing everybody is a unique individual, but we had like almost the same path. Our decisions were sort of the same. And just to come together and see this and then share that story, it's an awesome story. And I think it's a story that it should be shared. And I'm happy that we can do this podcast because it's a unique transfer story that nobody can really ever forget.
And we describe it as a feel-good story. It's one of those things where no matter how hard you try to forget it, you're going to remember feel-good stories. And I will forever remember this. Like, transferring in, of course, still being at my previous institution, I had always had my mindset on transferring out, but I didn't know where. So of course that process was a little bit different, and it was maybe a little uncertain even. And I guess, Corey, you can attest to this as well. We both had our times where we were uncertain and unsure of what the future held, just because we were transitioning from one chapter of our lives to another. And I can definitely say that we have transitioned quite well. Corey, what are your thoughts on our transitions and just how we've come into our own here on this great campus?
When I think about it, and when I was going over this in my mind, it was, I transitioned from a different school. I carried over that experience that I had, but UM-Dearborn's not the same place that I transferred from. It's different. So that first semester, and as we talked and we're like, well, we're trying to feel out our first semester. So I felt out my first semester, and then come the fall semester, I was like, okay, I really want to get engaged. I really want to experience that college life. So started getting into organizations. Never would have thought that a semester later I would be the editor-in-chief. So just like looking at our shared experiences and how we engage as students has made us better people, and I think partly influencers. for the coming students. So I really love our shared experience, and I think it can only help students grow.
I completely agree. So today, Corey and I have a special guest by the name of Aryka Rice, who happens to be one of the main spearheads of Model T, the program designed for transfer students. So there is a cruise program for first-year freshmen, but there's also a program for transfer students, which I believe is extremely beneficial because it brings together pretty much every resource that you would potentially need as a transfer student. And you can get that within your first semester, within like the first few days that you're even here on this campus. Even before you walk on this campus, you're going to be set. So without further ado, let's give a round of applause to Aryka Rice.
Hey folks, my name is Aryka and I'm super excited to be here. And I'm looking forward to sharing more about the transfer experience and how the Office of Student Life is working diligently to make sure your transfer process is great, as well as supporting you to graduation.
So excited to have you on. So of course our conversation is going to be geared towards the entirety of Model T, but we also want to get to know you. So how long have you been at UM-Dearborn?
Well, as a staff member, I've been at the University of Michigan-Dearborn for almost 3 years. It'll be year 3, August 7th, 2020. That's when I came in. But I was also a student, a Castle student. Shout out to the Castle majors, from 2010 to 2014, where I studied health policy and economics with a focus in human resources.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, I was actually, I was just reading on your bio and it was so extensive and I'm just like, wow, we actually get to talk to you. So very proud and I'm very excited that students can get to know you. So in your role on this campus. So
definitely.
Yes, yes.
And then our next question, everyone has some favorite part of UM-Dearborn. So we're just interested in what is your favorite part about UM-Dearborn?
It's hard to boil it down to one, but what I will say is our campus is absolutely beautiful. The nature and the greenery and it being small and easy to navigate going from class to class. And I just really appreciate how we have some unique pieces like the environmental center in the rear of campus. And I would also say the people. When I was a student, we used to have this saying that this isn't an institution, it's a community. So as you walk by someone, you say hi or you smile. If someone's struggling or they drop their books, you help them pick them up. So I would say the campus, definitely, but the people keep me coming every day.
I would completely agree. If I can just say, it's the people that make it. And I believe without the people, without the students, without the community members, it's just a building, but everyone makes it a home. So I really believe that. So I guess that's how you would describe campus and the community, just as a home feel. So yeah, I would completely agree.
Definitely.
So what are some of your main responsibilities in Office of Student Life?
So some of my main responsibilities first would be to be the office funny person. I am hilarious and I like to keep people excited and motivated and happy and bringing snacks in. But getting into my role, I oversee the Model T and Cruise program. So from the recruiting and retaining student facilitators to curriculum writing to marketing and promotions to assessment, all that fun stuff to make sure our programs are beneficial to students. I also get to oversee and work closely with the Talent Gateway for the Duck Mentoring Program. And what that is a program where we get first-year students connected with upperclassmen to serve as guides as they navigate the academics of the university, as well as that personal and social mission as well. And so I also, I serve in a split role, so I also help or work with the Dean of Students for student conduct, which is absolutely amazing experience. And so other little as duties assigned that I do work on making sure the website is up to date, doing some training and professional development for our student employees. I just try to really be involved with everything we have going on in the office, just so I'm in the know and I'm getting to meet as many people as possible.
Amazing, amazing.
And with such an amazing job, and as you're describing it, I'd imagine it might be hard, but what is your favorite part or maybe parts about your job?
I would have to say the students. You all are absolutely amazing. Such leaders, so resilient, so innovative, and just really community focused. And so, as folks in my office know, one of my favorite events is the Student Leadership Awards, where we get to showcase all the great stuff that you all are doing. So I love hearing students' personal stories, helping them problem solve and think about things, as well as being a shoulder to cry on, because sometimes things happen. And then just really collaborating and see that aha moment. And so the reason why Cruise and Model T are so close to my heart, because I get to see an incoming student kind of flourish and grow into leaders on campus, whether it be a job on campus, doing some really cool research with a faculty member, being an orientation leader, working in my office, or just doing some really cool stuff. So it's definitely the students for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's good to have somebody who really loves their job and loves the student. That's exactly what we need on a campus. So we have it right here, but I guess we'll ask you, what does Model T stand for?
So Model T, the origins of it, we had the cruise program, and we were saying, transfer students are that small population of students that kind of get left behind. And I think we have like these huge parties and welcomes for first year students, but transfer students are like, hey, you transferred in, here's your stuff, make it work. And so keeping with the automotive thing, because we are so closely tied to Ford, we came up with Model T, which stands for Making Opportunities for Developmental Experiences and Learning Together. And it's really an opportunity for incoming transfer students to learn more about university life, to connect them with other transfer students, to support them on their academic journey, and to empower transfer students.
Amazing. Yeah, just being a transfer, it's a really different experience, because like the first part of college, like my first part of college was at a community college. So it was already a different experience. So I had my habits set in that zone, and then I had to make that switch coming to Dearborn, and I had to make that decision to like actually switch and transition over into this new student leader, this new student that I desire to be. So I think that leads into our next one, and it's not really a question, but it's just, these are some of the words that stuck out to Corey and I, just as we were conversating, and as we were as we were having our own side conversations about what Model T stands for. We definitely really did look at new chapter, new possibilities, a new way to approach, a new way to do things, just because it is a new chapter in our life. So we both had similar thoughts and ways that we approached moving on from one institution or one community to another. And I really think that since we both came in with the mindset of this is a new chapter, like the only thing that's holding us back is just logistics, like how do we operate Canvas, and how do we use Connect, and how do we get our IDs. After that, we pretty much have some things already down, just because we are already like we are already doing it for a good amount of time. So it was really just switching from one method of like learning to another. In a way. So
So, oh, sorry.
No.
And so what's really cool about Model T is because we don't want you to like erase all of that experience that you had at another institution, because that's valuable. is very valuable. And what Model T does is help you capitalize on that. So we take your past experiences, your past collegiate, as well as your work experiences, and try to connect them to your present and future plans. And so making sure transfer students feel a value part of our community, and realizing that they have different needs. We intentionally make sure the adjustment and transition to our university is not only tailored to them, but also as smooth as possible. And so with Model T, we try to get those resources in the student's face before they might actually need it. And so we try to also expand on concepts from orientation to ensure the academic, personal, and professional success, because oftentimes we have the orientation and there's that downtime and in the semester. So getting them engaged, getting them confident so they can step on campus that first day and feel ready to hit the books and meet those goals that they have.
Agreed. This actually isn't a question on our list, but so we know that Model T covers Canvas, Connect, so like some of the basic technology requirements.
Mm-hmm.
What is covered in the leadership or the personal development side, like you were saying, interpersonal? So I know it's 4 weeks. Like, what is what's like a high level overview of what's covered from start to finish, if you would?
Yeah, from start to finish, we start with campus technology to help them be successful. So as you mentioned, the Canvas, the Connect, degree works, and things like that. But we also take a moment to define what academic, personal, and professional success looks like, and how we can create SMART goals to make sure students reach that level of success. And we do that by connecting them to success resources, services, and also sharing strategies that facilitate success. We also talk about the University of Michigan-Dearborn and what being a member means, also, and how we connect to the Dearborn communities in the Metro Detroit region. We talk about, we examine personal skills and interests and passions to determine purpose and personal legacy and impact, and how that, how you can foster that academically, personally, and professionally. We talk about involvement on campus and how they relate to future plans. One of my favorite topics is health and wellness. So talking about the dimensions of wellness and resources available on campus, because it's important to have that balance between the different dimensions of your wellness, because your academics are not siloed or isolated. You need to be healthy, getting sleep, emotionally stable, and things like that to be successful. And then we also kind of wrap up with personal awareness by exploring interpersonal and interpersonal capacities. So we do a lot of leadership assessments, so true colors and things like that, just to see how you work well with others, and how to really engage with diversity and inclusion. So that's a pretty high level overview. We talk about a lot, but it's always a good time.
Yeah, I guess I would add, I guess Corey and I, so we came from the same institution, and we, I guess at least for me, and I believe Corey as well, like there's always that, like there was a moment of feeling a little bit lost, maybe, and I think that's because we didn't have Model T. I think if we both had utilized Model T, like we're both far along, like beyond our, like you guys, you could say, wow, the streams, but like also just where we thought we would be, like we're already further beyond that. I think if we had participated in Model T before, like right when we came in, everything else would have been streamlined, and we wouldn't have had those feelings of where do I go, where do I plug in? Because as a transfer, it is a little bit different. And I think also, like this is the time of year that we came in, like winter semester.
Oh, yeah.
It's like it's winter, and Michigan winters are kind of saddening. So it's not necessarily the easiest time to switch from one place to another, from one chapter to another. And especially like when you don't, like, you have community and you have support, but when you don't intentionally place yourself in community, then there is rough patches. Not saying that rough patches don't help you and don't challenge you, but there are rough patches just because you aren't plugged in yet. And I think Model T does a fantastic job of just getting you plugged in and set and ready to roll.
Yeah.
So once a student finishes, virtually, yes. And then I'll let Corey take over after that. Was Model T always virtual? Even though we're in the midst of a pandemic, was Model T always in a virtual environment? Was it always offered that way, or did you guys make the transition just recently?
So the funny thing with Model T is we've been trying to find a sweet spot. So when we first started it, we had a hybrid model. It was some weeks were online, some were taught in the classroom or in the physical space. The second year we did completely physical, and because of the pandemic, we're doing completely virtual. And so we were somewhat prepared just because this is something we had done in the beginning. The transition was not too bad, but we've really taken a look at the curriculum to make sure it makes sense. A lot of the assignments were, or experiences were, go to the CAPS office and interview someone, or go physically to the wellness center and do something. So really thinking about creative ways that folks could interact with the services. So that piece has been pretty interesting. And then also factoring in some information and resources around online learning at another institution. So that could potentially be another barrier because now you're completely online and there you learn these new systems and things. And so just being intentional with reshaping the program. So not a totally horrible process, but it was a great opportunity to be creative.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And as you're talking about finding yourself the program virtually, we talked about beforehand, we talked about some virtual events that you had. And how is that just doing different events? How has that been working out? Because it's such a different time. I mean, I've never experienced anything like this. So just a different time to connect still and help others as well. How has that been going?
That's been absolutely wonderful. It's really cool to build community virtually and kind of keep that ball rolling. And so I've been looking at this from a positive standpoint. Like, this has been a great opportunity for me to be creative. And so we had a sleepover for the Engaged Scholars last week where we had different Google Meet rooms where it was movies, Jackbox, Kahoot. And so just really thinking outside of the box. And so we've been really excited because it's also allowed us to see what are some gaps in our programming and what are some, who are some other partners that we need to be involved with. And for the most part, we actually see a better turnout for events because the student can just, they don't have to get dressed or drive to campus. They can just hit join and they're a part of the meeting. And so, and I know people are really kind of grasping for that personal interaction, especially with us being quarantined. And so that's, yeah, but it's been really fun. And as always, I love engaging with the students. I've been able to meet students that I haven't met before, interacted with. So you too as well. So that's a great treat.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I like, just that makes me feel good that instead of I mean, sometimes people might step back, but it's not, you're going right at it, and you're like, we need this community, we need to have this community. So that's just awesome to hear. So our next question is about transfer student ambassadors. So reading on the website about transfer student success, came across a transfer student ambassador. And once somebody gets to the point where they could become one, can you give any reasons for being a transfer student ambassador?
I would have to say it's passing the torch. So realizing how your experience was and try to eliminate some of that feeling of being lost or some of those barriers by serving as a mentor to another transfer student. So really getting them connected to the community first, that first couple of weeks. So from orientation to graduation, making sure they feel a part of the community. And so it's a great way to make a legacy as well, because this year we're adding more transfer student support and programming and services in the Duck mentoring program. And so we're really excited about this new initiative for them to draw from their own experiences and to really make these memorable connections with new and incoming transfer students.
Yeah, I like hearing that you said passing the torch and, canceling and mitigating and really canceling that feeling of, oh, like, I don't know what to do, I'm kind of alone. Mitigating that, I mean, that's the best way to describe it is setting up for success. If you can mitigate that feeling, cancel that out, and that welcome feeling is just created, and you have other students who have felt that, that really warm, friendly approach, I think just kind of keep going through that. It's gonna create a different culture, and I think it's only for the better. So that's awesome. I hope people when they watch this, they're like, oh, I want to be a transfer student ambassador. And I know that there's going to be transfer students after watching this who are like, you know what? I need to get into that Model T program, because if I don't, I'm going to be kicking myself.
Right. And so I really thank you all for putting this together, because oftentimes information is everywhere and it's hard to figure out what you should be involved in. And I really think these podcasts that you all are doing puts the information in one spot so they know exactly up front what's available for them, how they can engage, and how they can prepare for success. So thank you all too for this great opportunity.
Not a problem.
So I mean, the next thing, and sorry for the picture, I had pictures on my phone. I should learn how to use a camera, an actual camera. But I'm interested, are there any other resources for transfer students that you would like to mention that maybe we didn't put on a slide, or that we could put in the description so that when they're looking through this, they can say, okay, I watched all this is awesome, but maybe there's one more thing that I need.
Definitely. And I think this picture is really cool because Halloween is one of my favorite holidays. And we actually took a bunch of transfer students to Erebus, that haunted house, which was absolutely terrifying. So that picture is right on time for sure. But some other things I'd like to mention is the Success Press, which is an electronic newsletter that shines the spotlight on academic accomplishments of transfer students on campus. And that was just something that was buried on the website that I happened to find. And it's like, that's really cool, because transfer students are doing amazing things. Then there's the Tau Sigma Honor Society, and it's an academic honor society designed to recognize and promote the academic excellence and involvement of transfer students. And so we've had the chapter here on campus since 2009, and it was actually the first to be organized in the state of Michigan. And so it's definitely something to check out, and it's a great resource because you have that network of other fraternity brothers, as they call it, across the nation to help you get connected to jobs or graduate schools or becoming references for things. So definitely check that out. And then there are a number of transfer student scholarships on the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships website. And so definitely check that out to see if you meet the criteria for something and get those funds to help you reach your academic goals and relieve that burden that can sometimes be that financial burden. And then Success at Dearborn, the Office of the Provost compiled resources offered across the university. And so that's a great webpage to see exactly what's happening for you. And something that I don't have on the web is a program called SOAR, and it's for women returning back to education. And so maybe a person went to work or was in the military or decided to have a family, and it stands for Support, Opportunities, Advocacy, and Resources. And it's also geared towards non-traditional students. And so they're pursuing their first bachelor's degree. They're eligible for a tuition discount. and things like that. So definitely checking those out, because that's an amazing, amazing program that comes out of Castle. And we have some great faculty that have a stake in that program for sure.
Amazing. So Corey and I are just starting here at UM-Dearborn, hypothetically speaking. And we are a little confused, don't know where to go. How do we get involved in Model T?
So a great way to get involved with Model T would be to definitely check out the website to see if that's something you're interested in. You have the, the schedule that allows for you to participate. And on that webpage, you'll see the program overview so you can know what to expect, as well as the opportunity to sign up for it. My contact information is there, and I'm more than willing to ask questions or get you connected to people who've successfully completed the program. Because there are a couple of folks, and I know Sarah, shout out to Sarah, who now works in our office and who's going to be facilitating. She'd give you, the rundown of her experience in Model T, definitely. And so those are good ways to get involved with Model T, as well as at any of the orientation. They should be sharing that information on the modules on Canvas, as well as involvement fairs that we'll have coming up. You should have received an email from me about getting involved with Model T. And so I'll be sending out another email, but that's just primarily how you would get involved.
I actually guess that leads into our next question. So I mentioned the involvement fair. So it's also, Go Blue Day, or the Go Blue event. More information will be released soon. I'm assuming just Model T will be a part of that, and how office student life will also be involved. So I'm assuming you guys will be there, or at least virtually, and that will be a place where we can meet you all. Yes.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And a way to stay connected to our office, definitely our social media. So on Facebook, we're the UM-Dearborn Office of Student Life, and we do this really cool announcement thing. And I always get the name wrong, so hopefully I get it right. Dearborn Today, Tomorrow. And that's where we have student leaders talk about the events that are happening during that week. And so there are events from the Counseling and Psychological Office, from the Center for Social Justice and Inclusion. Student organizations are doing some really cool things. In our office, we have, aside from like game nights and movie nights, Julie, who is our coordinator for civic engagement, has Cooking with Cold Bath every other week. So check it out tomorrow. I'm not sure what she's making, but it's always really good. And then I'm hoping to start Aryka's Arts and Crafts Corner. So just showing you how to do crafts with, everyday household items. And so that's something this is why I don't really like how we got into the virtual world, but it's really been a cool opportunity, because that wouldn't have been something I would have been able to do if we were physically on campus.
Right. And it's good that you're taking advantage of that. I mean, like you said, it might not have been the best way to get there, but
yeah,
I mean, just getting on there and getting people engaged, that's amazing. So if I was an incoming student, we kind of did that. We did that again. What advice would you give to a new student?
Well, I would first say get involved, make a difference, because it's okay to, go to class and go home. But if you really want to get out of college, you want to put something great in and become a leader, leaving a legacy on campus, really honing in on your passions. I would also say it's okay to ask for help. That's something that sometimes we can be a little prideful, but asking for help will get you to that resource or get you to that answer more quickly, so that you can get things done more quickly and more efficiently. And I would also say, which is one of my favorite quotes from Gandhi, leave the world better than you found it. And I think you can do that on an academic, personal, and professional level. So thinking about what you do on campus, thinking about who you are as a person and giving back to your community. And then also professionally, how does your work or the work that you're planning to do help the world be better? And so that would be my advice. Be you, lean into being uncomfortable too, because that's where you grow. my cat is just jumping on me. I didn't know what it was, but that's definitely that advice that I would share to any UM-Dearborn student.
Go ahead.
I completely agree. Just being you, doing you, staying on your path, staying true to you. I think for me, just coming in as a transfer and still having a little while to go, I really had to just get comfortable with my journey and like what's ahead, because the world likes to have its say in my world and in my journey. And at some point, you just have to do what's best for you and not let anyone mess your journey up. Like this is your journey, this is your life, this is your way to live, this is your chance to shine. So I guess for me, I've had to just really get okay with the fact this is my journey, this is my chance to be great, this is Corey's chance to be great. It's our chance to like take advantage of what's in store and what's available to us, because that's our duty. Like that's what we can do. And then after that, and even during that, we're able to share with students, hey, you can do the same.
Definitely.
But until we do our part, and until we share with other students, or until we are the change, then there's no way that a student can look at us and say, well, they didn't do their part, so why should I do mine? Well, we have to do our part. We have to lead the way. And I believe just by leading the way, students will follow. And that's really cool. I think that's a really cool way to do this. So.
And so just to add to that, and I'm sorry I'm chatty, but there's a video on YouTube, and I think it's called How Leadership Starts or something like that. So there's this guy at some kind of park, and he's dancing by himself, and people are looking, they're like, what is this guy doing? But then someone's like, okay, let me see what this is all about. And they start dancing, and by the end of the video, there are a ton of people. So really being that role model, being that first person to step up, you just never know who's watching. So definitely.
Completely agree. Well, here's the best question of the day. Any fun facts about you that we'd like to hear or that we should know? Of course, we know you have a cat. Love crafts. Anything else that you would like to share with our audience?
Fun facts about me. I used to play string bass in high school, which was my absolute favorite thing to do. Not to brag, but in 2012, I was awarded the Difference Maker Award on campus. And so that's something that I'm super proud of. And it was a great experience. What else? My favorite season is the fall because of the weather and apple cider, definitely. And I am terrified of butterflies. And so those are the facts that people usually are like, huh? But yeah, that's what I would share.
Interesting. Butterflies. I've never heard that. I've never heard fear of butterflies. That's okay. You learn something new every day. So
right. Definitely.
So as we're kind of wrapping up, we have some contact info right here. And we're just curious if there's any other contact info that we could put in the description to contact anybody else or anything like that, just to make sure that we can get the students in contact in the best way possible.
I would also, well, this is great. And I would also put some information about Victor's Link, which is essentially our Facebook for student orgs and events. That's a really cool way to get acclimated to what campus has to offer and get connected with our office. They can follow us and get all our events, and all of our staff members are there, and our student staff too that can help out. So that's a really great way, and then as well as our website to get connected. And we just got our Meet the Team page updated, so you get to see our lovely faces and our different roles and where we're from and what we think about involvement, because we are very passionate about getting students involved. So, but yeah.
Amazing. Well, it's that time where we are going to thank you for just being a part of Mastering Maize and Blue Model T Edition. We greatly appreciate it. Corey and I are truly ecstatic about just the future of the university, as well as where transfers come into play and how we, as our own version of student leaders, are able to kind of lead the way and really be the change that we wish to see in the world, if I can steal your quote from Gandhi. But I really appreciate that, that we were able to have this conversation. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you all, and thank you for being transfer student ambassadors, showing transfer students that you can be involved and you can be successful at it. So you all are my first transfer student ambassadors. So
oh wow.
Awesome.
Wow.
So thank you for allowing me to be a part of this, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you all more, as well as our incoming and current transfer students.
Amazing. Well, audience, future students, current students, you've heard it. You've heard it from Aryka Rice. If you'd like to keep mastering Maize and Blue, feel free to check out the website, UM-Dearborn.edu/mastering Maize and Blue. For our previous and future episodes, there's a wealth of knowledge. We, as orientation, are here to get you involved and get you acclimated to campus. And once we can do that, you are off for the races, you are plugged in, and you are everyone else's. So feel free to stop by that website, listen to the past podcasts, listen to future ones, follow us on Instagram at Dearborn Wolverine, and we will see you all soon. Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Go blue.
Go blue, go blue.
Go blue.